Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. We got Amazing in here, Wally and Casey Fred. So Wally, man, he started this channel back up. He's been doing football predictions. Casey Fred, and he said the Chiefs gonna lose in week 1, man, to Baltimore. He was coming up. Oh,
I can't hear you. What you say? I can't hear you, man. Because
Yeah, so he over here thinking this is gonna be
Super Bowl rings are kind of heavy, man.
You know what I mean? We ain't coming for that. No,
they will be sliding. My hearing, bro. I can't.
Yeah, they will be sliding.
So, hey, Fred, how you feel about Wally's week 1 prediction?
Hey, bro. I mean, I don't know what to tell them, man. These rings, man, they just keep adding up, bro. Because this is.
I ain't trying to hear you. I ain't trying to hear you.
I'm starting to run out of fingers. While we starting running out of fingers.
I ain't trying to hear you. I ain't three-pitting Jack. I ain't three-pitting Jack. I don't hear that.
I don't know. I ain't gonna bet against KC no more, man. I learned my lesson. I lost some bread these last couple years.
You bet money. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right, let me go ahead and pull these slides up.
Brother, you know what I'm saying?
Don't you dare talk about no shame. When I shave on my own purposes.
But nah, no doubt. Yeah, I just wanted to start it off. But yeah, Wally's got his new channel, and I'll plug it and put it on the main channel, so y'all go see his weekly football predictions, and he's also doing wrestling. It's got a pretty good format on there, man. I like it a lot. But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the movie review. So today we're going to review Anyone But You. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So Anyone But You is a 2023 American romantic comedy film directed by William Gluck, who co-wrote the screenplay with Alana Wolpert. Hopefully I said her name right. But you know what? I stay butchering names. Don't even care no more.
That was great.
That's my niche. So, all right. So after an amazing first date, Bea and Ben's fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a wedding in Australia. So they do what any two mature adults would do, pretend to be a couple. So, all right, I'll go ahead and jump into the directors and producers. So directed by Will Gluck, screenplay by Alana Wolpert and Will Gluck, produced by Will Gluck, Joel Roth, and Jeff. I ain't even about to Kirshenbaum. Probably butchered it. But all right, the cast for this movie: Sydney Sweeney as Beatrice B, Glenn Powell as Ben, Alexandria Shipp as Claudia. That was Pete's sister. Michael, well, that was probably from the last one. I have to left that in. So Gata as Pete, Hallie Robinson as Hell Spence, Michelle Hurd as Carol, Dermont Mulroney as Leo, and Darren Barnett as Jonathan. So, all right, man, we about to jump into the main thing, the rating scale. So, all right, this week, I'll go ahead and set it off this week, with the ratings and the summary, but I'll give my rating real quick, and then we'll go up the panel. So my rating for this movie, I'm gonna go with a 7. I thought it was in between good and very good. So all right, Casey, Fred, what's your rating for the movie?
I gave it a 6.5.
6.5. So you're in good territory.
Mm-hmm.
All right, amazing. What was your rating for this movie?
I'm shocked, honestly, at the two of you. I give it a 5.
Really? Was I watching the wrong movie?
Decent and average?
Oh, God.
Damn. You know what? You might got to go first to explain this.
Yeah. Be like, y'all trifling.
All right, Wally. So, Wally, what's your rating?
You know what it makes? I'm glad I didn't vote on you because, boy, Lord have mercy, I did not. I'm glad I didn't guess no number. Thank goodness. Oh man. Oh, okay. Now, as far as this movie, hold up. Yeah. This has to be the right movie. Yeah. So as far as the movie as the scale. Look, I ain't gonna even cap. I'm not even gonna say. I actually like the movie. This really did hit on all chambers. Hit on the comedy. Hit on the romance. So for me, I'm on the fence in between two numbers. It's a 7.5, but then it's an 8. So, but for right now, for what I took it as and where it all hit for me, as far as just guessing certain things was gonna happen. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 7.5 because a lot of it was predictable.
Okay, so Wally in a very good territory. All right, so the summary rating. Go give your rating one more time, and why'd you give it that, and just answer the questions within your time limitation. So Amazing, you gotta go first on this one. I was gonna go first, but damn it, since you the outlier, yeah, you was definitely unexpected. So give your rating one more time, and then also, just start responding.
I don't know. I feel like I'm on this panel with a bunch of softies tonight. Oh my goodness.
Oh, she's throwing shots.
Oh, don't you try that. Don't you try that. I want to hear that. I want to hear that. Focus on the movie.
She said, I'm on this panel with these beta males.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't want to say the SIMP word, but no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
She turned up tonight. What you been drinking?
Yeah, man. I gotta get a drink. Where's the water at?
You skipped church one weekend, and this is how you be talking. The rest of your femininity up there.
I did miss this week. That might be it. I just thought for a rom-com, I felt like there's going to be better movies coming out on Hallmark soon. So I thought it was average. I mean, I might consider going up a tad. If y'all give me some really good points to consider, but I just felt like I thought some of it was funny, like things I liked. Do you want me? Am I going through everything really quick here?
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. This is your summary, and just go ahead and respond.
So summary is for rom-com. Again, average right now. I did like what I recommended. I would recommend it. What did I think about the plot or storyline? I thought it was average. I think everybody knew right away Bay and Ben were going to end up together, which they did. It was the typical, let's pretend that we're a couple so people leave us alone and then we're going to fall in love anyways. So I thought that was all super average. Some of the things that I thought was over the top and just had to plummet my score a little bit, and this is going to go with scenes and actresses' performance that stuck out. I thought the cliff scene first, but then it went over the top. I feel like her looking under and the finger or thumb or whatever went wherever, that was too much for me. Girls, do not do that. Ladies, unless you're in the medical field, don't stick your finger in nobody's bum. That was not an accidental happening. I thought it was over the top. I didn't like it. I just kind of grossed me out a little bit. Especially considering men's butts are normally a little hairy. It was gross to me. I didn't like it. They're doing all this over the top stuff and nobody's even paying no mind at all. And we're talking about beautiful people. Everybody from the parents in their old age to everybody was all beautiful people. So if they're both being weird and naked on the cliff, everybody's going to be watching no matter what. That's going to catch somebody's attention. So I just thought some of it was over the top. I did, however, I did like the scene. I will say the beginning scene where they were at the cafe and she was just trying to buy something super quick so she could use the restroom, because I have been in that circumstance where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to buy something just to use your restroom. Nobody has come to my defense like that, so I did hate on her a little bit, but I could understand the strength.
Shout out for the hate.
But I like that opening scene. I thought it was funny. And I like the fact that they actually kind of hit it off and spent the night together, but didn't spend the night together. So I liked that concept. So I was on a strong, ooh, this is going to be good. And then it kind of went average quick. Scenes and actresses, I don't ever recognize specific actor and actresses, but I always know I know I've seen them around. Like the one dad, I think he was in like a super old movie I used to watch, Cocktail. I think he was maybe the friend in Cocktail. Did anybody ever see that movie? It's super old. With
Damn, what are you,
Cruise.
70?
They open up. Anyways, I love that movie, and I'm pretty sure that he was like the bar owner that Tom Cruise went in business with. Anyhow, getting past all of that, I like the diversity of the movie, the family, all of that. I really liked how kind of like the friends came together. I thought I had some super good comedy scenes. It was just the ones that were over the top were like super over the top for me and kind of turned me off a little bit. Even when it came down to him like jumping into the ocean and getting the helicopter, I was like, oh gosh, this is too much. We're going, it's not real. I like a rom-com that's more like realistic fantasy. And I felt like that was over the top fantasy with a little mix of nasty. Just because of that one.
All right, so
if I was the director, producer, what would I change or do differently? I would probably shorten the movie a little bit because I thought it was kind of on repeat a lot. We knew what was going to happen. Let's just kind of get it along.
What, you going to turn it into a commercial? God damn.
And then I would take a couple of the super over the top scenes and make them more subtle to be realistic. Like when he went to look for Bay, it wouldn't have been through a helicopter and all this stuff. Like he would have walked after her. Like most people caught up with her and then went from there. I would have taken out some of the over the top stuff, made it more subtle. And then I would have threw in a couple average looking people just because I felt like nobody knows everybody that they hang out with is beautiful. That whole cast was beautiful. I mean, I like it. I'm just saying they need some average people in there.
Okay. So we'll go ahead. We're going to go to Casey Fred next.
Okay, so I said 6.5, which was right there in the good territory. And the reason why I did that, I will agree. Some of it was over the top, kind of like that, what do you call it? Slapstick comedy or something like that. And like the cliff scene was definitely just flat out like nobody saw that coming. And it was like you didn't know what to do with that. Like that almost could have been just cut off and you would have been just fine. And then plus when he thought something was on him, he slings his underwear. And then I don't even know if you guys saw how far it went. Nobody can even throw that far. It was just hanging in a tree. And it looked like so far away. I was like, come on, man, that's just crazy. And then, of course, he's wearing her underwear, which you had to look real close. That was how he got back. And so just that, all of that was just crazy, over the top, because I was just like thinking to myself, there's just no way. But I did like the movie. I did. Anyone But You, it fits. Sometimes when we watch movies, you find yourself questioning like, okay, why did they call it this movie? But the reality of it is they had a misunderstanding. You know, they really had a misunderstanding. And if they would have talked this out a long time ago, they would have already wouldn't have had to come down to Sydney in order to be able to figure out what's real and what's not. And so it was just like they realized both of them was messed up. And what cracked me up was this family on both sides. Well, not on her side, but the other side of the family, they all was in on it. They were trying to get them back together. And I thought that was hilarious. Like the Pete and the father-in-law, I think his name was Roger, was over there sneaking over there on the side, trying to talk and whatever, try to say things to him. And then, of course, the soon-to-be married couple, they was on this side over there trying to talk to her. And my favorite person was Carol, because she was like, they're trying to be all whispering stuff. I'm just flat out tell you, we need those shades. It's on that boat. Go get it. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was hilarious to me because, in other words, it was like, no, we're not sugarcoating anything. Go get it and figure this thing out. Because you two, hey, y'all need to do something with your lives. We all can see that you two need to be together. Y'all need to see it too. So maybe if you just wear yourselves out in the water, maybe you will all of a sudden come to your senses and everything. So I just thought that was hilarious. Now her parents were off the chain because here she is trying to quit, don't want to be a lawyer no more, which I was like, okay, so what are you going to be? Because you just dropped something that's going to like makes a lot of money, something that you can actually do, be productive in society, in this community, and now all of a sudden you just want to drop it because I'm not feeling that no more. So the parents had every right to be upset. I just thought the timing of what they did was just kind of, off. And then who goes around bringing your old ex all the way? And I mean, you even use your they say airline miles to be able to bring him all the way down to Sydney, Australia, because you're thinking she already said she didn't want him, but you're thinking, oh, well, we're just going to force it on her. And so it was just like too much control. And it just felt like that was the very thing she was trying to run away from. And she didn't want to be like them. And the reality is at the end of the movie, you are who you are. The apple don't fall far from the tree. So would I recommend it? Yes, I would definitely recommend it. Did I like it? Yes, I did like it. The storyline I thought was cool, except for the, over the top, a few of the over top scenes. But other than that, I thought it was really cool. I thought that, he was this big jock that she thought was an asshole. But then the more that she got to know him, she finally realized his vulnerability. It started coming out. She started seeing the other side of him. And then, of course, he saw the other side of her. And that all of a sudden she just needed to honestly just grow up and get beyond her past and, just see each other for who they really are. And the reality is they really did like each other. And he liked her from the very beginning. And I thought another part was really funny that Margaret, which was his ex, happened to be there too. And then, of course, she had the surfer, but she willing to go ahead and realize, oh, wow, he really is this diamond in the rough. So I'm going to drop this surfer and try to get back with him. And so you just felt this little intertwined circle that kept building because of circumstances. But the reality is, in the midst of all that dust, when the dust cleared, they finally found each other, and that was who they were supposed to be with. And so the most funniest thing I thought was the end of the movie. I've seen it in so many. That's the reason why I thought you was going to like this movie amazing, was what's it called? The Serendipity song, because he's afraid of heights and stuff like that. And so, and that scene, since we're going right into the scenes that stuck out, that scene, because she was pissed off at him on the plane. And so, you know what? I'm mad at you, so I'm gonna go eat your cookie. So then she all of a sudden sleeves get caught, and then next thing you know, she's doing some acrobatic roll or whatever, you know what I mean? And then that's how she ended up hearing his song, because one thing, he had blindfolds on and stuff like that. And so I just thought that was hilarious, because when the pressure came and it was time and he needed that song because he was scared of heights, and they're going up in a helicopter after doing the little Titanic, on the yacht or whatever, and fell in the water, and now they all of a sudden need to be saved. Here it is, she knows his song, and so she helps him at the right time. And it was I just thought that was hilarious. And then, of course, they end up singing that song, which everybody end up knowing it. And that was the whole thing about this movie that cracked me up. There was no secrets. Everybody knew everybody's business before it was all over with. And thank God for Pete, because Pete was just letting everybody know too. Yeah, she quit school. She's in love. He's in love with her. She's in love with him. And these two just need to be together, So I just thought this family was just hilarious. Anything that I would change, I would probably just change some of the over the top because, like Amazing said, which she's a nurse, so she would know about, guys getting that extra exam, And so I just I thought that was like that needed to be cut out. But other than that, I thought it was funny, man. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in there that was funny, and it was just like, I don't know, kind of like one of those feel good movies, and you kind of wanted it to be. And I know she's comparing it to the Hallmark movie, but those are classics. We never said this was a classic. We just said this was good. So as far as I was concerned, I was cool with that. I just couldn't give it no higher because of that. Some of the scenes were kind of over the top. But other than that, those are the love stories that, everyone wished they had. Like, hey, so how did you guys meet? Oh, let me tell you. It's sit down, drink some coffee, have some hot cocoa, and let me tell you about this story. And so everybody wants those kind of stories. And I just thought that was pretty cool. I know if our boy Manny was here, he'd probably say it was a classic, but I'm glad
Yeah.
we don't have to bring him down the size. But other than that, I thought it was really good. Would I change anything? No, not really. And that would be it.
Can I add just one little quick thing because Fred made me think of it?
Mm-hmm.
To change something, just when you mentioned the cookie scene, what I feel like would have been like definitely better and more revenge-ish if she would have done, like, it could have been, because that was a funny scene, but if she would have taken a bite of the cookie and then licked the bottom and put it back. So she got a bite and that would have been a sweet revenge.
That's over the top. That's almost as bad as the cliff scene, where you're poking holes in people. So I think
that's something you really do. If you don't want somebody to touch your treat, you lick it and then you put it back.
But all right, let me get Wally's take. All right, Wally, let me turn over to you now.
You don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say because I don't think so. We're watching the same movie, at least not for the movie. I'm partially disappointed in Mason. I think it's 5.
He's on that.
Even I wasn't willing to give this no 5. This don't deserve no 5. I mean, granted, yes, there were some things that were basic. There were some things that you could have thought of, like, yeah, those two are gonna get together. There was a lot of different things. Granted, there were some very simple. Yeah, we all know how this is gonna end. Very standpointish things like that. Granted, but that doesn't mean that it didn't sold what it sold. So, for me, I say it like this, man. If you watch this, I'm gonna do you some justice. But I know you would have probably rated this 8s, 9s, probably even a 10, somewhere around that ballpark. Definitely would. So. For me, I rated this a 7.5 simply because taking away the fact that, yes, there was some decent moments where you know how this was going to end. Yes, there was even some points where he was already fearing, like, okay, the dude that he once went out with and the guy that she once went out with, they're going to get together, which, funny enough, at the end scene credits, that's what happened. There was just a lot of, like, decent, similar moments of this. But nonetheless, let's get into this. All right. Would I watch it again? For me, no. I don't do romance like this, but it was a good movie. So if someone into it, by all means, go for it. I think the only way I rewatch this again is just for the comedy bits. That's pretty much it. But other than that, that's all I can do with this. Because other than that, I'm pretty much screaming at the damn TV show like, you can't make this. This was so horrible in the midst. But plot, storyline, I liked it completely. It was decent. I will agree that yes, that cliffhanger part was a little bit too much, but the reason why I'm still laughed at it is because at the end of the day, you can't tell me you're like right there in distance and you're screaming your heart out of the spider coming out of nowhere, and the next thing you know, you're going completely naked and you just realize, I could have just pulled my shirt, just checked my. Just the way she did, and like, yeah, I went over the top, but that was a spider. And these guys are so locked and focused to the damn koala that's on the tree. They ain't doing nothing special other than chewing down leaves. And you try to tell me you didn't hear them going back and forth? You crazy. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding. That was funny to me. But even then, that was still lackluster because it did went extreme. As far as having all that far to go, take off your clothes, let alone to actually had to look at body parts that didn't need to be seen. Literally, that did not need to be seen. I probably would agree. That right there did not need to be done. But going back to it, just how like they started, like, yeah, she comes in there, she tried to use the bathroom, you know, the association of, you know, going to a place that like, oh, you can't use it unless you buy something. What did he do? He plays the smart card. He's like, you know, I'm sick and tired when people do this dumb stuff. Hey, my girlfriend here, my wife, whatever she wants to, whatever he said, she would love to have this, a tea with 2 cups of sugar, and also, can she get the bathroom key? Here you go. Here you go. And then you pass her. Next thing you know, it makes a great conversation. And she's right there walking away. And you only stopped her to tell her about that damn paper on her feet that she did not recognize. Only for her to be like, oh, you gotta ask me out now? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like a goof. But then, you know, as they're having a nice little stroll, walking, talking, everything else, he literally told her about his afraidness of spiders, which funny enough how that comes around later in the movie. Then eventually they go back at his place. They have a little nice conversation. He's throwing a little bit of everything, right? Well, why you have this big wrench? Oh, you know, that's for my mother. You know, she gave me that. It had a symbolic meaning, which was pretty nice because it was pretty smart, right? The wrench was pretty much for the simple fact that whenever there's something that needs to be fixed, go out there and go fix it. Figure out the problem, figure out the situations. So that was really deep because at the end of the day, that's something that was left to you from a passing of your mother that he didn't really sit on or stick on, but until like towards the later ends of it all, right? But what was the more cringy thing for me was like, how do you just up and leave and didn't bother to say anything? That was like, that was one of those real like punch in the face moments of you can't be serious. This is how we're gonna start this movie? This is how we're gonna start this movie? Oh, I can see hell. I can see hell. Next thing you know, she goes down, she's talking on the phone. She's like, oh my God, I met this great guy. Why did I leave his apartment again without saying nothing? Turn around. Next day, you turn around. Oh, the dudes are talking like, hey, bro, like, you could? You in love. I'm like, hey, slow down. I could have get her out here sooner than later. I could not get her out any sooner. Only to know that she hears you right behind you. And I'm like, we all know where this is going. We all know where this is going. It's going to be a mixed match of horribleness. Next thing you know, they meet up again. They go back and forth with witty comments, which was so funny. And only for the dude to converse with the old guy. The old guy like, wait, what? And he's like, wait a minute, what the f-? And you over here winking at him. He's like, what the F? Like, you over here on some gay tip in which you're not. And it was just like a very weird moment, but it was still like funny. Right, as time goes on, you know, as time goes on in the movie, of course, they get there. The friends trying to get them together, trying to fake the whole situation, trying to get them to like each other again, or just to reminisce the whole situation, which only for them to flip it back on them because they knew what was going down, and they just flipped it around just so it can work in their benefits when it comes to everybody else, and let alone people that they were interested in. Well, at least for one of them, right? The big thing for me in this caveat movie is you gotta really look at the character growth. That was the one thing about this movie I actually have to give props to, because the character growth in both of these characters, as far as the main 2 characters that are opposites of each other constantly, those were the main 2 things. Like, you gotta think about it from the female's perspective. She was the one looking at life saying, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? And is this really what I want? Always looking at life, always questioning, is this the path? Is this really it? And the funny thing is, the only reason she left her boyfriend, not because of anything else wrong, but simple fact that they just never saw that it factor where they just separated, right? They never saw that where they ever had a problem. She chose to go against herself just because she had a good relationship and a good situation, only because, in a sense, she just didn't want it the same way as there, or neither, you know, however she viewed relationships in her own mind, or based upon any reactions she took from TV shows, movies, however you wanted to be, right? because she always thought that there should be a problem, there should have been issues, there should be things that we have to work out, and she just never had that, I guess, that je ne sais quoi, as we always say, that flair that would be in the belly of people. And just looking at her parents, you would think to yourself, yeah, those people are just mellow. They're like one and the same. And I guess in a sense, you know, you can look at that and be like, I just didn't like it. And even if she ended up gaining that in her own relationship, I guess it just wasn't what she wanted. And then, funny enough, she finds it in who? She finds it in this dude. But only because, why? She magically left just because she felt like she neither made a mistake or neither she didn't know what she wanted. So she was just making choices out of nowhere, only for her to come back for him to reject it because he was already hurt beforehand and he knew what it felt like to lose something that he once had or he once thought he had and everything else, right? So both these two had to really go through a lot of character development as far as just growing up. And one of the pre-caveats that was the most biggest funny thing about this was she literally said it in the movie. They're literally doing some high school stuff. That was like the biggest thing about this because that was the biggest joke in the movie for anyone that looked at this. That was the biggest joke. For anyone out there that watched the movie, that's the biggest joke of this whole movie. A lot of y'all, some of y'all be doing this shit out. Some of y'all be doing this stuff out here. Real. But that was literally the biggest joke of it all. I think the other pre-caveat to it was also is in a lot of cases, like just the simple fact of like when the guy started teaching her father how to actually swim, like how to actually go in there. And just being able to look at those things, be able to look at those pre-caveats, you know, trying to see if he was really genuine person or if he was just another everyday dude. The constant back and forth between them, always trying to find the wrong in them, even though really they were just right for each other all together, all along. And I think in most cases, it just seemed to be nothing but tits and tats, or everyone's just not sure of themselves of where it is. It was always like the moment you thought that it was just a lock in, it was a shoe and it was all good. And then it's like, oh, you say this one wrong thing all over again. It's like, I don't want to be that guy you feel like you made the wrong mistake with. So let me just walk away. I'm like, get the out of here. Like that was cheesy for me. I'm like, you should know by now if it is or if it ain't. Like you got to be willing to fight for what you want. And that's just true with anything, like anything. You know, it's something right for you, fight for it. Don't matter. Fight for it. Hey, you better off fighting for it than not fighting at all. But other than that, actors and actresses, I think between like the main two characters for me was just the perfect ones. Like they were the most funniest out of everyone else. Definitely for sure, almost everyone else was like good one way or another. Like they play their role pretty well. As far as what I change, pretty much take out the little crazy scene when they're in the wilderness. Take out that crazy scene. But other than that, I think I want to change something else. I think this was pretty solid.
I think you making the sell to Amazing. She gonna do a bump up.
Yeah, she ain't gonna do no bump up. She's over there being trifling. She hated.
Mm-hmm. But all right, I'll go ahead and get my breakdown. So, you know, the reason I gave it a 7, I thought it was right between very good and good. Because a lot of the reasons, like Wally was saying, I mean, you know, first, you know, the plot and storyline for me, definitely like Amazing was saying, you know, it's the typical, you know, storyline. But I like how they kind of put like a more, I'll say, modern type of storyline to that one. Because I mean, there's only so many like love stories you could kind of put out there because everything done been kind of touched. But I like how they, you know, went to Australia. So, you know, it was in like multiple places where they kind of expanded on that storyline where, you know, they had that initial run in, like you guys said, where they were at the restaurant. And we all, like Amazing said, you know, that is kind of the norm. Like you have to buy something. So, you know, I could definitely see that situation type of playing out. So, you know, they kind of hit it off, kicked it a little bit. Then, you know, bad communication, misunderstanding in a, you know, beginning phase where, you know, they just stopped talking, went on with their lives and stuff. So now all of a sudden, you know, there's this wedding and stuff, you know, by coincidence. So I like how they kind of put that spin on there where, you know, they went to Australia. So I like the diversity also. So no, I think it was pretty good because, you know, I think a lot of movies, sometimes I look at it by like budget also. So I think for probably the budget they was getting, I think they did a real good job, you know, putting together, you know, the storyline, the plot, the setting, the location, you know, the personnel that they had. So I liked it. I liked the staff wasn't, you know, major role players that they typically plop in every romantic comedy. So it was good to see like new faces and stuff. So yeah, no, I liked it overall. I thought it was like a good. I liked the jokes. It wasn't too over the top. You know, I know y'all mentioned the scene, so yeah, I definitely would have put the dumb in the butt and all that. But I could see why homie got naked with that spider. You know, because if it was a spider on me, I'm shedding clothes. We taking everything off. You know, so I can understand why he was like, "Look, man, get this up off me." Now, because I had a situation when I was in the military where, like, man, we were doing some training exercise and we were over in Thailand, and I had to like lay in the ground for our fighting position, and I got swarmed with all these ants. They were like just chewing me. Man, I got naked. So I was pouring water all over myself. So I mean, I kind of connected with that scene. I was like, hey, I understand why he shed all them clothes, because you know Australia you be having some of them poisonous like creatures too over there. So yeah, I would have flipped out. I would have been like, oh hell no. So I can understand not the other stuff, but you know I think that was a funny scene how that played out. Then even some of the stuff like when they was, you know, kept on, like it seemed like everything would go wrong when they were like starting to connect. So I kind of like how they didn't just like rush them together. And then even when they had their interactions where they were trying to go back to their exes, I like the fact that they didn't prolong those interactions, because you know they were actually kind of brief and they didn't fixate on, you know, them talking to the exes too much. It was like actually focused on them kind of, you know, going back and forth with each other. Then they started kind of, you know, playing into the role. And so I thought that they did a good job with the timing on everything and not overdoing it too much with, like I said, the exes, those interactions, you know, them sitting there whining and stuff too much. So it's kind of like it had a nice like flow throughout the movie. Yeah, so some of the scenes, definitely the cliff one. And I like Fred said, I did like the closing out scene, how they kind of got back together and stuff. So yeah, overall, I did like the movie. Would I change anything with this? No, I like the way that the movie flowed. The only part I think he definitely should have tried to smash, you know, in the beginning. So I didn't didn't like that scene too much. But I don't know if y'all recognize, like, because I didn't look until I was like looking up the names. Like, I know Amazing, the one guy she was talking about, he was also in My Best Friend's Wedding. He was like her best friend, the dude I got married with.
You got the dads mixed up. That was not who I was saying.
Okay, not that one, but I'm saying that other guy. He was in My Best Friend's Wedding, and the one girl that was B, she was actually in that movie we just Madam Web. Yeah. She was like one of those like girls that was in the movie. Yeah. The blonde hair one. Yeah, that was her. I didn't realize that until I was looking it up. I was like, damn, like she looked totally different.
And you know, Ben was in Maverick with Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay.
He played Hangman.
Yeah, so now definitely, like I said, young acting cast, like up and comers. So I like how they like had the new acting cast. So that's why I gave it a 7. I thought they all did a good job, you know, with the personnel and piecing that together. So I definitely liked it. So all right, man. Any pushback on anybody's points? Anybody got smoke for Amazing?
Hey, no, I actually kind of agree with Amazing. You know,
what's wrong with you, Fred?
I do have pushback for Wally, because you know, pushback for Wally though. You know, the only thing that like you can't say there was more than just that cliff scene. Y'all know that shower scene where the two fellas are butt naked talking about nutsacks and stuff. That was a little over the top too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah,
that was odd. Yeah, that was odd. I was trying to remember that one.
I don't care if you all.
Yeah, I mentally blocked that out.
Stand away from me, okay?
Well, I mean, that guy was kind of weird anyways. So I like how they kind of like made him awkward and weird and stuff. So, and he was with the ex. So it was kind of one of those things like, you know, he had that feel like, why the hell you with him? Like, I know I can't be that damn bad, you know? So I like how they kind of made him like over the top and stuff. So.
And then another over the top Wally, I thought. I was like, okay, so he said, well, go get the girl. Okay, who do you know in your right mind just jumps off the cliff?
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't happen. it would have been a wrap for
I
that
mean,
relationship.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I don't
was
take
over
that as
the top,
I
Wally.
take that as he was trying to get somewhere. So I didn't take that as a screen.
Yeah, but you ain't jumping no cliffs.
Well,
like
yeah. I mean, we all know this wasn't as literal as everything, but it doesn't mean that I
You
wouldn't.
calling
I
a
would go that
taxi,
far.
Uber driver, you know what I'm saying? But you not.
Hey,
talking
I
about
wouldn't. Hey,
jumping
at this
no cliff.
point, I don't call it a fault. I call it just a smart play in his mindset. So, hey,
Yeah, so nah, yeah, definitely ain't jumping off no cliff. Definitely ain't doing that.
Oh,
Yeah, like I would have Ubered her to her, but yeah, nah. But anybody else?
I did.
I'm still
look
shocked by
back.
Amazing though. I'm still shocked that you went to 5.5, but and them Hallmark movies are kind of corny.
Look, he's like, have y'all seen that commercial when like Hallmark movies playing and somebody's like trying to give you all this commentary on how lame it is, but like you can tell they're super into it, and then they keep asking you all sorts of questions, and you just want to be like, just sit down instead of standing there and trying to act like you're not interested, but you really want like me to record this so you can watch the whole thing later.
Nah, they just be so unbelievable, man. Like I start breaking it down. I'm like, man, ain't no way. It's always like a
That's
millionaire, some CEO. He goes to like a little town, and it's the girl that's like washing dishes, got no income, and then she lands the millionaire. She's all pleasant, no issues. And I'm like, man, God, I'm gonna start doing a series like messages and movies. where I just break down the stupid plots and how this is so unrealistic. We might have to do that, man, a little segment or something. But yeah, nah, they just be they are interested though. I'm like, oh, so she gets him, and she be looking at me. She be all into the movie, and all they do is just enhance a lot of these people's delusion in life. Like, oh man, I could achieve that too. I just got to run into the millionaire in Willacoochee, Wisconsin. Like, come on.
I just didn't think she was going to compare it to Lifetime movies. That's all I was saying. I thought we was looking at this one.
Hallmark.
Trash. Now they are pretty fun though. I ain't gonna lie. I like watching them, but yeah, it's just because of the plot is so terrible. But all right, so we'll go ahead. We'll jump into the last thing. Go ahead, Abe. Did she freeze up?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, must have. That Brian Brown, he was in the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise in 1988. It's such a good movie if you haven't seen it. It's so good.
1988.
One of my faves.
You interrupted a sophisticated jerk for a 1988 movie that nobody really watched.
Hey, was that the year she was born?
I know. That's why I said, what are you, like 70?
I was born
Cocktails?
before 88. That was a good movie.
Cocktails?
Cocktail.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh man.
No wonder.
My closing words are
no. We gotta. Would you change your score?
I'll go from 5 to 5.3.
The hate is real, y'all. The hate is real. So that's amazing. She went from a 5.5 to a 5.3, still in average territory.
From 5.0 to 5.3.
Oh, okay. I thought you was 5.5 for some reason. My bad. Okay, so you went up a little bit. Okay, all right. So Casey, Fred, you gonna go up, down? Or are you staying the same?
I'm keeping it the same. I just think the movie was just bad because when the girl's hair caught on fire, I think Amy was just done. That was a wrap for her. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing was hating. Facts. All right, Wally. 7.5.
I'm glad you actually mentioned the hair getting on fire. And you know what they because I ain't gonna lie, that actually was a good scene. You know what they say when you're good connection, when you're good together, sparks fly. That spark did fly.
Sure did.
It fly. Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna stay on 7.5. Like I said, I think this was a little bit. It was repetitive in some form or fashion because you could tell like, oh, they're gonna get together down the line. I mean, they were just stringing it along because of the simple fact of don't know, do know thing, and then of course, it was just pretty obvious. I mean, that's constant sense. Like that's common sense. Pretty obvious. I couldn't give it more than what I wanted to, unless certain things would have changed here and there. But then again, I still couldn't think like what would be the reason this would change in my head. I mean, literally, this wouldn't change much different. I think honestly, like, actually, now that I think about it, I think the only thing that could have probably made the movie better if the parents try to figure out why did her own daughter like the other guy more than the guy that they would wish he would be with. If they were more intensive than that, I think that would be the only reason why this movie could have been better. Because the moment when he mentioned that his mother was gone, that was like, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, because you never really know anybody. You don't know anybody. So it's like, how do you, like, if your daughter is with somebody or she's pretending, quote unquote, pretending to be with somebody, wouldn't you not get to know the guy? They didn't even put no effort to get to know him at all. So that was the funny part for that movie for me. So I think that would be the only thing that they could have shifted off and made better. I think the only thing that was a preview of the proof of that was like the father connection. Like, okay, like, you know, this is what you do. You know, you stain your toe, then you dive in, and then boom, you hit that perfect switch and everything like that. And then of course, you know, the daughter's right there, you know, snooping. Like, did she really mean that? Like, yeah.
Okay.
So I think those would be pretty improvements. But yeah, I'm staying at 7.5 though.
All right. I'm gonna have to bump it up a little bit. I'm going from a 7 to a 7.2. And one of the reasons I'm gonna bump it up is because Amazing, she said something and it kind of stuck out to me. Like she wanted to see more like average looking people in here. And I just appreciate the fact that they didn't put no average looking people in here. I don't watch movies to watch
The old man
look
was
at
average.
basic looking ass people.
The parents were average. What the frick are we talking about?
The parents were good looking for their age.
What the world are we talking?
Like, yeah, I don't
in this movie? Are you serious?
I don't want to see no average looking people in these type of movies. Like,
and then you got to think about it. Some of the filler people were better looking than the average people. Come on.
I want it over the top. I don't want to see no ugly people in no movies, man. That's.
And let's be honest. Notice one thing too. This was also the funny thing, right? This was another funny part. The people that were actually more beautiful were the less stressed, the more mellowish people in the whole thing. Like literally, like a little bit more mellowish people that were a little bit more beautiful. Literally, the ones that were so always driven, like, ooh, you know, what are our daughters? Oh, they're the ones that are old and looking like they're fading. Like, sheesh, live a little bit, just chill, vibe out.
But yeah, nah. So 7.2. We don't do average. But all right, closing words. Wally, closing words.
Closing words is, hey, if you love rom-com, enjoy. This would be good for you. You laugh at this one. You laugh at this one. You enjoy. You have all that, everything you ever saw in previous rom-com movies before. You'll love this. But with that said, Manic, if you see this, I know right now you just shaking your head at Amazing right now. I know you shaking your head at Amazing. You just like,
yeah, Manic would have had this as like a 11 or something.
He would have hold y'all hostage on this panel.
All right, Casey, Fred, parting words.
Don't you dare start that cheek, right?
Lord of the Rings.
This was a decent movie. You know, my hand is a little heavy, so I've been trying to hold it up. Don't start. Say that we starting our 3-peat tonight. We play right now. You can check out NBC. The Chiefs are live, well, and hungry. And like I said, tell the rest of the world they just gonna have to get another ring in about another 5 years, because that's when it's going to go down. See what I'm saying? So Anybody But You is a good movie, but I do want to stress it wasn't about beautiful people. It really was about character. So at the end of the day, don't just look at a book at its cover. Read the book, because the more that they got to know each other, the more they realized they were supposed to be together. And that's the reality of everything. So I just want to tell you that. Leave a little nugget. KC is in the house, baby. 3-peat, baby. Yeah, Wally. Hey, stop hating, baby. Your jacket's coming soon.
But all right, y'all.
I ain't taking it.
Let me get the world's greatest hater in here for her closing words. So amazing. Parting words.
Well, first of all, just to add, I didn't even know if Fred would make it today when I heard on the news this morning that Kansas City was playing. So I was glad you're here.
True.
My closing remarks were just to bring it back to the movie with a little tip for life. If the two of them would not have been trying to impress other people and having their own like self-doubt, it would have all worked out. She wouldn't have been trying to sneak out of there being all self-conscious about herself. And then by the time she came back, if he wasn't trying to be cool in front of his friend, like she was nothing when really he actually had a connection. That's why he shared moments. They would have saved years of a love match. So if you like somebody, don't worry about what other people think. If you know they're a good fit, and go for it. That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, my parting words is just try to smash. Seize the opportunity. Don't let shit pass, man. Like,
Jerk.
push up on it. I'm tired of all this like delaying and stuff. So I kind of agree with Mason a little bit. Like, man, like, hey, man, you got to seize the opportunity. Like, but all right, we out of here. Keep tuning in. Peace.